Thank you very much for joining me today. So my name's Sean, Engagement Officer for Soft UK, and today we are talking with Jemima about an amazing project she has running as well. So I guess if you want to kick off by telling us a little bit more about yourself and what you're currently working on.
Okay, so my name's Jemima, and I have a 7-year-old daughter who has full trisomy 18 called Callie. So we've been part of Soft for a little while now. We've known about Soft since Callie was little. So yeah, I mean, I'm here today to talk about the accessible campervan project that Cody and myself are doing.
Yeah.
So Callie is definitely on the complex end of the Edwards syndrome spectrum. Last year she moved on to oxygen. She needs suction. She's on a food pump at night. She's got all kinds of things going on. And as she's got older and bigger and more complex, we found it harder and harder to go on holidays. In fact, we've never been on a holiday, just the four of us. We've got a daughter called Alba as well. And we have been on holidays, but we always have been on family holidays where there's been other people there. And yeah, we haven't managed it. And before Callie was born, we loved going on holidays in a camper van. That was what we liked doing. We had a couple of camper vans that we converted, and we would go off into the mountains, and we totally assumed that when we had children, that would be the kind of holidays that we would want to take. And then Callie arrived. Not at all the child we thought we were going to get. And yeah, we've not been able to have those kind of outdoor holidays that we wanted. In fact, as I say, we found it hard to have holidays at all. And as she gets bigger and bigger, we find it harder to go away with her at all, because she needs a bed, like a specialist bed. It gets more and more stressful to try and visit family even. So Cody, my partner and the children's dad, has always been very practical. So he's always taken the lead in converting camper vans for us before they were born. And he's been dreaming about this for a long time, about making a camper van that would be accessible, because at the moment there isn't anything at all like that out there for families like ours. But the plan that we came up with was that, we didn't just want to build something for ourselves. We wanted to build something that we could rent out to other families who like ours, who would also love to be able to use a camper van to well, it's not just, it doesn't have to be people that want to take adventurous camper van holidays, but it also could just be an opportunity for people to go visit family with an accessible, basically taking an accessible home with them.
You mentioned they're obviously having difficulties with traveling, and it not just being about going on like an adventurous camper van sort of holiday. What difficulties do you face then when you do have to go away, or when you look or plan on going away?
What do we face? Well, the amount of equipment that we need is a big one. And now that she's on oxygen, we've not tried to do a trip anywhere since she's been on oxygen, partly because of lockdown. We don't really know quite how long she'll tolerate sitting in a car seat now. We've not done more than a couple of hours. She's got a scoliosis, and that can make things a bit uncomfortable for her. And then it's kind of the other end. So we did, the last trip we made as all four of us was to visit my mum, who lives about 3 hours north from where we are. And we had to make her a bed on the floor, and that was okay. But then she came down with a cold almost as soon as we arrived, and so she was needing loads of suction. And we were kind of, you have to really take care of your back if you've got a child that can't walk. And so we do our best, but like we were doing all this kind of kneeling on the floor suction. She was miserable, we were getting achy, and it just felt really uncomfortable and a little bit scary, really, just not having all of our things around us that we need, because we're so well set up at home, of course, for anything, as you have to be if you've got a child with complex medical needs. I imagine I'm not the one that can feel quite out in the world of families that don't have disabilities, that that have, you know, walking, talking children, you can feel a bit vulnerable being out in the world. And I think actually that can put us off having holidays and anywhere where we might feel like we stick out. And I think that actually having, for a family, having their kind of accessible home with them, it's almost like a little bit of a, you know, it's like having a little bit of armor on, like, you know, you kind of you're not feeling quite so out like a fish out of water, because you've got your space that you can go back to where working as they should. And I feel like that would help with us going out into kind of more mainstream holiday things. And I imagine that other families might feel the same as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose it's something you don't really think about sometimes. Like when I first saw you doing the project, I just assumed, you know, it was again to do campervan holidays and go away and really enjoy that. But actually listening to you talk then about the fact there are, you know, just being away from your security and your equipment and everything that you've got, that just helps to, I guess, give you some peace of mind and that security to go back to. Having this that can go with you just anywhere, to visit family, to go on breaks elsewhere as well. It just makes so much sense.
Yeah, it does. And I know now that for families like ours, I mean, next time we go and visit my mum, hopefully Iris will be completed and we'll just go and park on her drive and we'll have everything we need. And
Yep.
I think the time that we spend together is going to be much less stressful, you know. And I really hope that we can offer that to other families as well, because it's heartbreaking for everybody involved when families can't spend time together. You know, and as parents get older, it's harder for them to travel, and and as much as anything, we just don't want siblings to miss out. You know, it's you know, when Alba was born, I kind of thought that she would be the one that's oh no, hang on, I'm saying it the wrong way around. But when Alba was born, you know, I didn't really think about this. I thought she would miss out and Callie would get all the attention. But in actual fact, Alba's all right on that front. But what I do realise now is that she's just missing out on normal experiences, and she's not seeing her family as much as we'd like. And you know, it's just to be able to kind of create your community, you need to be able to move around a bit sometimes. And I just,
absolutely,
you know, I just really want to support all those siblings out there who have a really hard time of it, having a disabled brother or sister. You know, they have to give up a lot, and they shouldn't have to give up holidays or weddings or, you know, festivals or anything like that.
Yeah, that's it. And that's a really admirable aim as well. And moving on to, I guess, the fundraiser you've got coming up, and I suppose timescales. Is it the 6th of July that the fundraiser is going live?
Yep, we're going live on Tuesday.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
And what does that look like then at the moment? So what are we doing with regards to that fundraiser?
Well, I mean, one of the things I wanted to say is that people look at our family doing this kind of thing and they kind of think that me and Cody must be super people to be able to do this, and the reality is it's not like that. You know, we are having to do this at our own pace, and the crowdfunder is all part of that. I mean, we had a really big campaign planned, but actually we've had family illness, we've had pop bubbles, we've had chicken pox, we've had so many things that have got in the way of being able to work on it, that I just had to say to myself, well, we're just going to do our best and just try and get our fundraiser campaign out there so that people at least know about it, and we'll do our best, you know. And I think that's a really important message for anyone who's watching this, who has a child with a disability, who's feeling like, oh my God, those people are building an accessible camper van. How on earth do they do that? And the answer is that, like, the back end is as messy as everyone else's. And I think we're really in a good place to get this project done, but we're doing it at our own speed, you know.
That makes a lot
so
sense.
So anyway, getting back to the campaign, we're launching on Tuesday. We're going to be on crowdfunder /accessible-iris. We're hoping to make £14,000 as a minimum, which will pay for the accessibility part of the van. So just to say a little bit more about that, what we found with the design is that almost everything is affected by the need for it to be accessible.
Yeah.
So it's not just being able to put the in and you know, have ramps and you know, we're having adjustable beds so that, you know, children, so that parents can kind of put their child where they can get them in and out with their and keep their back safe and all of those. But it's not just that, it's just we have to make everything so clever in order to fit wheelchair in what is basically a small space. And we wanted it to be a family size camper van, but we've had to like make a lot of decisions about making everything as light as possible so that we can counterbalance the heaviness of the equipment that it might need to hold, and we've had to make things pretty clever in order to make it all work. So the cost of making it accessible is £14,000, and that's what we're going to start by crowdfunding for.
That makes sense. It sounds like there must be some design wizardry going on in the background there to not only fit it all in, but like I said, to compensate for things like weight and make it accessible and allow for a family to fit in there as well. Yes,
and the other thing is that we want it to be beautiful, and I think it will be beautiful, because that's another thing that often families like ours we have to compromise on, because nobody who makes equipment for disabled people thinks about making it beautiful.
Yeah,
you know, they often don't even think about making it that practical. So, you know, a lot of people, families like us, we have to live with really ugly equipment. Remember Callie's first suction machine, it weighed more than her, bright yellow and bright blue, and it was just like a monstrosity. And you know, this is great in an accident and emergency context, but you know, we carried around a 4-kilo suction machine. Maybe it wasn't that much, but for a long time, and then we found a better one. But often, you know, this accessibility could be quite ugly, and we want to create something that isn't ugly. We want it to be as beautiful as every other hand-built camper van.
Brilliant. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that as it transforms. And I guess again, like you said, it's not just about practicality. It's a place where people will be living and staying, and like a home away from home, like you've said there. So it makes sense that you'd want it to look as beautiful as your home does. Yes,
that's right. And I feel like that's important, you know, that's important that people have that kind of sense of self-esteem from like being in a beautiful place.
Yeah, absolutely. And for anybody who is interested as well, we'll have all the crowdfunding linked in the description for the video and the podcast as well. And you can head over to the Accessible Iris Facebook page and also to the Soft page as well, where we'll be sharing details of this going forward. So we'll be doing lots of shout outs and coverage for this. We're really excited to see how it transforms over time. So with this, you've mentioned that you're going to be able to rent it out to families who need this, and it would help them basically traveling around. You know, what does that look like, and what sort of a difference do you think that would make to those families?
Iris, it's the name of our camper van, is going to be on Quirky Campers, their website. They're one of the biggest rental agencies of hand-built campers vans in the UK, if not the biggest. And they've been really kind and said they'll take Iris. They've said from the first that they would take Iris. How will it affect families? I'm just really hoping that it's going to let families just have some freedom, feel less limited. One of the things that we're really excited about, so this is definitely making lemonade out of a pretty sour lemon, but since Callie moved on to oxygen, that happened during the process of designing the van, and we suddenly realized that if we wanted Callie to be able to use a van, we would need to have a really powerful system, because one of the things that a powerful electrical system, because one of the things that particularly Cody really wants to do, because he was brought up in rural Spain, is he wants to disconnect. He doesn't want to go and connect up to a campsite where you can connect up to electricity, but you know, actually to be able to drive out into the wilderness and see the stars. And how do you do that if your child's on oxygen and needs an oxygen concentrator? And actually, so we've planned a really, really powerful system so that that can happen. And I feel like that is amazing. It's not going to be what everyone wants, but I kind of feel like there will be children out there, and because our van has been designed with Callie in mind, it is going to particularly suit children with complex medical conditions. And some of those children, they will never get the opportunity to go out and be under the stars without electricity, and that's one of the things I really feel like we will be able to offer. So there's kind of quite a good spectrum of things that the van will be used for, I think, from the more kind of mainstream, going to visit family, going to weddings, but maybe for some families, that opportunity to really connect with nature, which probably, well, I certainly thought we would never do that with Callie, and it's going to be an emotional moment when we do that, when we're out and lights out and there's the stars. Callie's never really even seen the stars, so
yeah, I suppose it helps to take out some of that fear, doesn't it? Being able to go into nature and know that you've still got the equipment that you need. So such a powerful moment for you, for your family, but then also for other families as well out there. So
yes, and I'm sure there are other families like us that would like to kind of have those kind of families. But I mean, whatever she's useful for, that's the thing, really. Whatever she's useful for.
Perfect. How long? I know obviously it's kind of how long is a piece of string, really, especially when life suddenly jumps up and gets in the way. But how long do you think the project's going to take to complete?
Well, we've done some on it. I'm hoping it will be done within the next 3 months, because the design's all there. A lot of the materials have been chosen. We've had some great donations from companies who've supported us. And so I'm kind of hoping within about 3 months. We did want her to be ready for the summer, but life doesn't always allow for what you want. So
wow, so it's going to be a busy 3 months then for you.
Yes, it is. Yes, for sure.
Hopefully get a few trips away in it for Christmas as well. That'd be nice.
Yeah, that would be really good. Yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like a very, very interesting project, and it's going to have so many positive impacts. Obviously, again, like you said, not just for your family, but for other families out there. And it definitely seems like such an interesting and intriguing concept that, again, you don't think about until you're in these situations. And I know a lot of our viewers and audience always have so many different questions about the impact on life that these conditions have. And this is just one major example of it, that sometimes you can be tethered to your home because that's where your equipment is. So it's a very interesting step to hopefully remove that tether for people.
I think if you talk to disabled families about the pandemic, and which is part in my day job, that was one of the things that I did first went to lockdown. I was part of a team. We phoned hundreds of disabled families in Bristol to ask how they were doing. And so many of them said, well, so far it's not so different. This is how we live anyway. We're so used to being tethered to our homes and limited. And I think that's one of the really, really useful things about the pandemic, is that actually suddenly people were experiencing life as disabled families and disabled people experience life. Understanding that frustration of not being able to leave your home, not being able to socialize and communicate and kind of live life to the full. So I'm hoping that people will carry that experience with them, and perhaps have a little bit more understanding for what life can be like for disabled people.
Yeah, hopefully so. Hopefully it gives people some more empathy for those conditions, and ultimately being locked away in your home and not having that freedom to leave it. So it's a very good parallel to draw there. Thank you very much for sharing that. Again, like I said, it sounds like such an exciting project, and we'll be sharing all the details. You'll be able to find that in the description of this video or podcast, wherever people are consuming it, and we'll be sharing it through Facebook as well. And to be honest, I think that's pretty much all the questions I've got there, unless there's anything else that you'd like to talk about on it.
I just thought I would say that I'm also the blogger on Soft as well. So if anybody wants to read more about Callie's condition and what life with Callie is like, then check out the blogs Life with Callie on the Soft website. Yeah,
absolutely. That's again on the Soft UK page. Jemima does some incredible blogs on there which go deeper into different kind of dealings with the condition and things that you have to face, and They're extremely personable, but extremely detailed as well, and absolutely worth a read. So thank you everybody for watching or listening to this today. Again, we'll be sharing more details of this going forward in the future. Been an absolute pleasure talking with you, Jemima. I can't wait to see how this all transforms. And again,
yeah, I'll keep you updated for sure.
oh, thank you very much.